Hi, my name is Yulia, and I'm on the communications team of the Feldenkrais Guild of North America. And I'm here today with Ellen Soloway. I'm very happy to welcome her here for an interview. She's a very well-known practitioner. She's also an assistant trainer. She travels all over the country and the world to teach other practitioners. And she also is known for editing AY lessons, which is a well-known source of materials for Feldenkrais practitioners. Welcome, Ellen.
Thank you, Yulia. Lovely to be here.
And my first question is, since our topic today is talking about feet, why feet? Why are they so important?
Well, basically because they support your weight and they're your contact with the ground, so that healthy feet becomes the basis for an upright posture that serves you, whether you want to walk, run, or even sit in a chair with support.
And, in your practice, have you observed that when you work with the feet, with a client, that something else changes in them, in their overall health? Is there a connection to everything else?
Yes, but that's a trick question, because in the Feldenkrais method, we don't break people down into their parts. We don't say it's your back, it's your foot, it's your hand. Oh, you have a stiff neck. Instead, within the Feldenkrais method, we look how people move, walk, sit, as a total organism. So if somebody has, let's say, a head jutting forward, which is common because everybody's been on their phone or sitting on Zoom, the computer. There's an actual new diagnosis. I think it's literally called computer neck. And what happens is the pitch of the head forward takes the weight onto the front part of the feet, usually. So we look at that and we go, if the person wants to have less pain in the front of their foot or less bunion, we say, let's work with the overall posture of the person, get a more mobile spine, get a more mobile upper chest. And lo and behold, when the neck has more support for itself from the chest, then the head gets more up and skull moved to a more upright position. And heads can weigh somewhere between 8 and 13 pounds. So that means that the weight goes through people's skeleton and goes more into the heels of a person than the front of the foot. So that is probably the simplest way we look at the feet in the Feldenkrais method. Then there are ways of thinking of how a foot is structured and functions. If my hand was the heel here of the foot, then my knuckles became the ankle, and my fingers flop and become the front of the foot and the toes. Okay, from here, we go, when somebody walks, there's a foot strike, and then the weight shifts until a certain part of the walk, they push off their foot. And we look where their weight goes, the pressure between the person and their skeleton and the push off from the ground. Where is that? Is that in an optimum position so that the force of a person from the ground, the push off for walking, helps propel the person forward? Or is it sort of muddled and they end up waddling when they walk? Or do they have a posture that puts, I'm exaggerating, a huge lordosis that sends their shoulders behind their butt and behind the heel?
Mm-hmm.
So that throws, and they're always looking sort of up towards the ceiling. What that does is it throws the weight behind the person, so it becomes very difficult for them to walk quickly because they're sort of always fighting falling backwards, where the person with computer neck is fighting falling forward. Does that?
Yeah, that answers my question. And connected to this, I wonder if you have a person who has, let's say a pain or an injury, Achilles tendon or something like that, comes to you for private sessions, how long does it take for them to, change that posture, change that alignment that brought the problem in the first place?
Well, it's hard to tell because Feldenkrais work does not have a set formula. Person comes in and we think this person is unique and special in the way they learn to move and how ingrained their habit of posture, of walking, of moving is to their sense of themselves. In Feldenkrais speak, we go the image of themselves or the image of themselves in action inside their brain, how the patterns they learn to move with. So if these patterns are long-standing and highly ingrained, it can take longer. For other people who are more fluid in their image, or if the pain they're feeling with their Achilles tendon is I'm trying to think of the right word for it. I don't want to say recent, but let's say not long-standing, ingrained, where it may only take 1 or 2 sessions.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the great catch-22. How good is the skill of the practitioner they're seeing? That's true in any profession. So I can't say it will take 1 session or 2 sessions because it depends on what's causing it.
Mm-hmm.
You
And
know,
yeah, thank you. Did you want to add anything?
well, I was just thinking, you specifically said Achilles tendon.
It was just an example, but
Right, but let's make it specific. Many children with special needs are toe walkers. And at one point within the medical model or industry, children who had special needs who were toe walkers, one of the most popular surgeries was cutting the Achilles tendon and lengthening it. And in many cases, the children never learned to put weight on their heels, even though they had the surgery. So they still pitched themselves forward onto the front of the foot because the reason their Achilles tendon was short existed in other parts of themselves. It existed in the way they held their chest, or the inability to move within their hip joint. So in Feldenkrais method, what we do is look for all these other reasons why. Why is this happening? Why is there pain? The pain seldom happens, the discomfort seldom happens in just one part. It happens because other pieces of ourselves are contributing. Maybe it's not pieces, maybe it's different aspects of ourselves.
Yeah, I sometimes think of this work as detective work, and then we're collecting clues and then creating a picture of why this crime happened and resolving it. And yeah, it may take months for some person and then quickly for another person. But I also was wondering, many people probably who are watching this, listening to this, they're thinking, so what can I do on a daily, weekly basis to make sure my feet are healthy, that they support me well? Maybe even if I'm seeing a Feldenkrais practitioner or not seeing, are there any simple things I could do?
Okay, there are two parts to the Feldenkrais method. One is the one-to-one, basically hands-on session where we use touch with people who are remain fully clothed to help them form a sensory-based kinesthetic image of how everything relates to each other. And it's all connected to patterns of movement that people have. And the idea is that the skeleton helps us move and support us rather than paying attention strictly to the muscles and whether they're strong, weak, toned, not toned, contracted. The other part to the Feldenkrais method usually are group classes called Awareness Through Movement. And since COVID, many practitioners are actually holding classes on Zoom. And now that the country is opening up, I think Zoom classes in Awareness Through Movement will continue. For example, I personally do a lot of Awareness Through Movement classes, actually one-to-one now on Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
So there are cassette tapes with no, my age is showing. There's CDs or downloads available of Awareness Through Movement. So if somebody has a Feldenkrais practitioner they have access to, they can get Awareness Through Movement lessons that are specifically designed to improve the functioning of the foot. So that's what they can do every day on their own. They can listen to an Awareness Through Movement lesson, and that will help distribute their weight over their foot. Now, there are certain non-Feldenkrais first aids for feet. My favorite is soak your feet in Epsom salt. Epsom salt is magnesium sulfate, and it's a natural muscle relaxant. It's the favorite friend of dancers, professional dancers.
All right, you were a dancer too, right?
A little bit, through college. Another thing that sounds silly, there's a stage in the development of a human child where they stand up on their feet and they find a coffee table or a couch, something that they can put their hands on, and they start walking sideways, round and round and round the coffee table. Anybody who has been around children sees them do that. I suggest that anybody who has problems with their feet find either a coffee table or a kitchen table or a countertop, put your hands on it and walk sideways. Right and left, right and left, left and right. And do that, I don't know, anywhere from 2 minutes to 10 minutes in short sections during the day. What this does is it makes the hip joint, the long bone from the leg that goes into the hip joint, makes it move in an odd angle. And that's very, very useful. It also changes the balance. It can rebalance the musculature in the leg in a very safe, simple way.
And of course, they probably should be paying attention to something rather than just walking sideways, right? Is there certain pointers to what they should pay attention to?
Where their weight shifts, the position of their head. And if they take too big a step, all of a sudden they'll find they're holding their breath. And the air, what this does to the area around your waist and in your back, it can be very interesting. Okay.
Wow, thank you. I'm going to go explore this myself.
Yeah, another one is it's easy to get bored with repetitive movement. And one of the key points about Feldenkrais is we don't recommend doing mindless, repetitive exercise. So if walking around your counter or with your hands sideways against the wall gets boring to you, you put a little variety in it. You cross one leg in front of the other. In dance, it's called the grapevine step. So here's your feet, one leg in front of the other, and then you reverse it back and forth. And again, this insists by virtue of the motion that you find some muscles at your hip joint and in your hips that you might not use during the day, particularly if you're sitting in a chair at your computer.
Thank you, Ellen. Thank you. And I guess my last question is, because it's something that everybody does, we all wear shoes, is what kind of shoes do you think we should wear? What are the shoes that will complement the healthy organization of the foot?
It's actually shoes that fit you and have a variety of heels. Periodically, before Feldenkrais, my college training was clothing designer. So over the years, I've been very amused. There's Birkenstocks, they have negative heel. Then came Earth shoes, they have negative heel. Then, but
they're the Vikrams with the toes.
That's right, Vikrams there. So the shoe industry goes through marketing fads. My suggestion is that you have a collection of shoes in the proper width that have a variety of heels. So during the day or during the week, you're changing them off. So your system, your intelligent brain, has to adjust your whole posture and the way you use the joints of your body, of your skeleton, and your muscles. It insists that you use different muscles when you have different height heels. And they keep changing because it's the change, it's the alternation, it's the variety that keeps our musculature and our skeletal system healthy.
Wow, thank you. Yeah, it's just there's so much different advice out there, and it's nice to get something more streamlined.
Common sense.
Yes. Do you have any final words for us, for our audience, for anyone who is interested in improving their feet and their overall organization?
Yes. One is get chopsticks or toothpicks or pencils or pens, put them on the floor and practice picking them up with your toes, because that will, the feet are an amazing collection of bone. And by making a game of picking up chopsticks or pickup sticks or pencils, you mobilize all those amazing bones in your feet. And it's something you could do during a coffee break at work, and you can make it a game among your coworkers. You could do it during commercials on TV. Oh, it's a commercial. And you do it for 2-3 minutes, and that's it. And then you can go back and sit on the couch.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Well, thank you so much, Ellen. It has been wonderful. Thank you for all your sharing your knowledge and wisdom with us. And I hope to talk to you again soon.
Thank you, Yulia. It's been a pleasure.